What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 14. This entire review is going to be dedicated to Tisha, Miss Tisha Scott, because I need to give her my full time and attention in this video. I'm going to get to the other people later, but I got to talk about Tisha. I got to address Miss Tisha Scott. Tisha, girl, why do you feel the need to constantly put up this front that you are in the most perfect, you are in the happiest marriage that ever existed since the beginning of the world? Why? You constantly carrying this responsibility on your shoulders to make sure that your marriage is constantly presented in the best light possible. It's exhausting. Aren't you tired carrying that much weight on your shoulders, constantly having to prove to people that you're happy, that there's nothing wrong with your marriage, that Marcel was the perfect husband? Don't you get tired of constantly having to prove to the world, prove to the internet, prove to your friends that you are in this perfect marriage and nothing could possibly go wrong, and that the two of you are like stronger than ever, closer than ever, and that, girl, it's exhausting to watch you. It is so exhausting to watch you because Marceau doesn't put this energy in his marriage the way that you do. He doesn't go around constantly trying to prove to people that his marriage is perfect, that his wife is perfect, that there's nothing wrong with the marriage. He doesn't go around doing that. He could care less about that. He could care less about doing that. In fact, he kind of does the opposite. He likes to plant doubt in everybody's mind because he thinks that if he is bold enough to place doubt in people's minds, then he's he's got nothing to hide. If he's bold enough and strong enough and brave enough to insinuate or to not answer questions directly or to have people speculate about his marriage, and he's okay with that. He'd rather people speculate and assume than set the record straight. It's kind of like he's trying to prove that I've got nothing to hide because I'm okay with you thinking that my marriage is garbage. I'm okay with you thinking that I'm cheating on my wife. Then that just means that I have nothing to hide. I don't know. He's got this really strange, weird. Marceau is a very intelligent person. Okay. He's a very intelligent person. He's very, very intellectual. And Tisha, I don't think you can go toe to toe with him. I don't think you can match up with his level of connivingness, his level of manipulation, his level of being able to twist a story around. I don't think you are equipped to deal with the mentality of Marceau Scott. And that's why you're here floundering about, constantly trying to prove to the world that your marriage is perfect, your man would never do. Sometimes a bad marriage doesn't necessarily mean infidelity. And you're so focused on infidelity because you have this sense of competition. You feel like there's always competition between you and other females. Case in freaking point. In this season, I don't know if it was you or if it was Kiki. I think it was Kiki that talked about how your mother and her father, who are brother and sister, raised the two of you girls to be in competition with each other. Because Kiki, her family's financial status was a little bit better than yours, Tisha. So Miss Wanda didn't want you to feel less than or whatever. So you were constantly competing with your family members, your own cousin, your mother and your uncle wanted y'all, the two girls, to constantly be competing with each other. And that's where it all begins. And that's why you feel like you are constantly competing with other females. You felt like you were in direct competition with Melody, probably trying to prove that your marriage is better than hers. You're probably feeling like you're in direct competition with any female that comes within earshot of Marceau. You feel like you are in constant competition of every single female. Tisha, like I said, to be in a marriage that is problematic doesn't necessarily mean infidelity. You could be in a marriage where your husband really just doesn't value you the way you need to be valued. And I think maybe that's what's really going on here. Because whatever happened to you getting your degree, like you got your degrees and you were taking all kinds of tests and studying for this and studying for that, and for these boards and that, whatever you were doing last season. What happened to all of that? You were going to start your own business, you were going to go into real estate, you were going to be doing speaking engagements. What happened to all of that, Tisha? Just because Marceau didn't want you to do that, you just gave it all up. Anyways, let me get into this episode because I'm going off on a tangent. So the first thing that she talks about with Dr. Francis is, her homework assignment and figuring out who she is and what she wants out of life. So who was Letitia to Letitia? They talked about that. Then she said that Marceau told her. She tells Dr. Francis that Marceau told her, what is it that you need, Tisha, and how can I help you get there? Or what is it that you want to do and how can I help you get there? She said Marceau said this to her. Dr. Francis was surprised. I was surprised that Marceau would say something like that, because Marceau doesn't seem like the type who would give a damn what Tisha wants or where she's trying to go and how he can help her get there. It just doesn't seem like something Marceau would say. So if he said it, he said it. Okay, if you say that he said it, then he said it. But I just don't believe that Marceau would say that. I think that you're trying to paint this picture that your husband is so interested in your personal growth that he wants to help you obtain your goal of being whatever the hell you want to be. Because a man that would say that to his wife, what is it that you want and where is it that you want to go with your life and how can I help you get there? That's the kind of man who would be sitting next to you in that therapy session. That's the kind of man who you don't have to trick to go into counseling with you. Moving on from there. So then they talk about Marceau going to Africa by himself. Now, this is where the meat and potatoes of this show, that's where we got the meat and the potatoes. Because I don't even know where to begin because there's so much to dissect here. Okay, so she mentioned him going to Africa because he needed to go find himself. He needed a mental break, because he was going through some type of a mental breakdown last season. And so Dr. Francis asked Tisha, well, how come he didn't take you on his trip to Africa? And Tisha says, well, the kids were still in school and I had to worry about what to do with the kids. And, we got dogs and I got to worry about where we're going to put the dogs. And so she said she couldn't go because she had to hold the house down. Okay. So Tisha, the funny thing is you were the one that was realizing that y'all needed professional help. So you went to go seek it. So Marceau, who believes that he didn't need any kind of professional help, you tried to take him to see Dr. Francis. Marceau didn't want to go. You had to trick him. Martel and Maurice tried to get him to see Dr. Francis. He absolutely refused. Okay. But he was so down in the dumps and he was in such a deep, deep depression that he had to go all the way to Africa, to the motherland, to go find himself. You were the one that realized there was an issue going on with your marriage or with y'all as individuals or with you yourself. You saw that something was breaking down somewhere that you had to go seek professional help. But he's the one that gets the benefit of leaving everything behind, leaving behind his family, leaving behind his business, and going to Africa by himself to try to clear his head. But you were the one that was needing the help. You were the one that was needing. How come it wasn't you that took the trip? So he gets this advantage of just dropping everything and taking off to Africa. But you were the one that needed the fixing. You were the one that needed the professional help. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Like, he was the one that felt like he didn't need any help. He could handle this on his own. So why would he have to go to Africa? Because he acted like he didn't need anybody's help. He was going to deal with this on his own way. So why would you have to go on a trip to Africa? So this is what I personally believe, that the whole depression thing was a setup for him to go to Africa. But I don't think it was for him to find himself. He either went to Africa with a friend or he went to go meet someone in Africa. If they couldn't leave together, they ended up meeting up in Africa. That's what I think was really going on. I don't think Marceau, because number one, first of all, Tisha, you complained and you boohooed about how whenever you want to take a family vacation, it's only you and the kids that go, because Marceau never wants to go with y'all on a family vacation because he always has to work. He has no time to spare, not a second to spare on vacation with his wife and his children because he's constantly working. But he's got the time to go to Africa for like a month. He's got the time to do that. So you would think that as much as you want to go on vacation with your husband, the father of your children, as much as you want that to happen, wouldn't this have been a great opportunity for him to take his wife and his children to a trip as beautiful as Africa? Like, come on now, Tisha. So Dr. Francis was like, okay, so you were good with him going to Africa by himself? And she said, no, because we had plans to go together, but he needed this time alone. And I was like, okay. And Dr. Francis said, you really said okay? And she says, yeah, because I know he's a last minute person like that. Okay, a trip to Africa is not a last minute type of thing. Okay, you have to make certain arrangements. You don't just wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to Africa today. You have to like make some type of arrangements. You got to arrange the flight. You got to arrange your accommodations when you get there. It ain't like just taking a trip to the town, the one town over or one state over, where you can probably do that at the drop of a dime. It needs some type of planning involved. So Dr. Francis was like, well, okay, he might have dropped it on you the last minute, but it wasn't a last minute type of trip for him. He had been planning this. So this man that you live with, if you want us to believe what you said, that it was a last minute trip, if you want us to believe that, Tisha, so basically he was hiding the fact that he was planning a solo trip to a whole nother continent. He's living in the home with you, but you have no idea. You have no clue. This man is making arrangements to go to Africa. You had no clue. So when he was ready to go, that's when he drops it on you. Oh, I got to go to Africa to go find myself. And you're like, okay, well, you're a last minute kind of person. Okay. But it's not a last minute kind of trip, girl. So Dr. Francis says that there's some type of a dependency issue between them. Like, he depends on her to just take over when he doesn't want to be there anymore. For example, he decided to go to Tanzania. So he was like, I'm going to go. Tisha, she going to take care of everything. She going to take care of them kids, them dogs, everything else. I'm out of here. And Dr. Francis was like, you need to, like confront him on this situation. Dr. Francis, there's a dependency issue here. Marceau knows he can take off on an international trip, and Tisha's going to pick up the pieces of whatever he leaves behind. And Tisha says, well, I told him about that, but only time will tell. And Dr. Francis was like, well, how much time do you need to give him? And Dr. Francis tells her, you need to like confront him. Confrontation is the key to growth. So even Dr. Francis was looking at her like, are you serious? Are you really living like this, Tisha? Do you not see that there is something going on here? And it doesn't necessarily mean that he has another woman in his life or that he's cheating. I don't doubt that that's happening as well. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's happening. You could have a problem in your marriage. It's got nothing to do with anybody else being involved, Tisha. Your husband does not see you for the human being that you are. He really doesn't. I don't think Marceau really sees her for who she really is. He just sees her as my wife. She's having my children. She's taking care of my household. And that's all I need her to do. When Marceau is out and about with his friends, his boys, whatever, he doesn't talk about his marriage. But Tisha constantly is talking about her marriage. She's fighting with her cousin over Marceau. She's fighting with Mel over Marceau. She's fighting with the people on the internet over Marceau. Girl, doesn't this get exhausting? Don't you get tired of this? What you need to do, Tisha, is you need to have a serious heart-to-heart with this man that you call your husband, because he's got you out here looking like a complete and utter fool. He takes off to Africa, has a great time. He takes off to Atlanta, has a great time. Here you are in therapy with Dr. Francis, where, he's trying to have a come to Jesus moment with you. And you always said, Tisha, that, God is always going to I'm waiting for God to show me. God is going to tell me what's really going on in my marriage. But are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening? I'm not saying that, Tisha, you need to get a divorce from Marceau. All I'm saying is you need to realize what's really going on so that you can finally fix the problem. Whatever is going on in your marriage is probably fixable, but you need to stop pretending like nothing is going on in your marriage. A man takes off to Africa, to Tanzania without his family. A man who never vacations with his family. Never vacations with his family, takes a solo vacation to Tanzania, a trip that really should have been a family experience. I can see him going to Miami by himself. I can see him going to Las Vegas by himself. But girl, why would he have to go to Tanzania by himself? He couldn't take his kid. You cannot wait until the kids are out of school and make this a family trip, knowing how badly Tisha has always wanted Marcel to participate in the family vacations. I don't understand. And that's okay with you. There would be no way in hell that I would tolerate my husband leaving for another continent just on the fly, like, because he'd be coming home to an empty or a locked house. For real. You're not going to be gone for a damn month telling me last minute that you're going to be taken off to Tanzania and you'll be back in a month and expect to come home to put that key in that keyhole, turn it, expect that door to open, walk on in like ain't nothing happened. And then I'm going to go around and cook dinner for you and pick up your dirty clothes. Are you kidding me? No way in hell. That would never happen. You'd be coming home to either an empty house or a locked house. The trip to Atlanta. The trip to Atlanta. Okay, that is related to Tisha here because I don't understand how Marcel, you understand what your wife, these constant battles that your wife is fighting online, or that she's pretending to ignore, but she's actually fighting online, of your fidelity. Then what do you end up doing? You end up going to Atlanta and you end up going to a damn strip club with the boys, and you think this is okay. Why couldn't you have sat this trip out, knowing what your wife has been going through with you in this marriage? I don't understand. Why couldn't you have just sat this trip out? Just this one trip. Why don't you be like, okay, Martel, I will support you in your business endeavors, whatever you need from me. But I think, me and my wife will take our own little trip. I would love to be with y'all on this boys trip, but I'm going to go ahead and take Tisha to wherever, X, Y, and Z. Tisha. Dr. Francis made you look like a whole fool. You look so ignorant. You look so oblivious. You look like you had no clue with what was going on. And your whole persona of trying to keep it cute, keeping this smile on your face when you really wanted to cry, keeping this smile on your face, well, he's just a last minute person. Girl, why? Why do you want to look like this on national television? For what? Anyways, I've given her enough of my time. I got to go on with the rest of the review in my next video. I don't know what to say. I mean, to me, that was the ultimate disrespect when he went to Africa by himself. And you act like this was okay with you. And like I said before, the whole depression thing, I don't buy it. I think it was a setup. He was going to put on this whole show that he was so overwhelmed, that he was so overworked. He needed a break. He put on this whole show about being depressed just so he could set up this trip to Africa. And so that nobody will question him. Everybody would be like, yeah, he needed to go on this trip because he was having a nervous breakdown. He was about to have a nervous breakdown, that Marceau. He really needed to do this trip. Once again, playing that Jedi mind trick on everybody, and your wife is falling for it. You think that you're being real funny and real cute with everybody, but the one that you're hurting, Marceau, is your own wife. Anyways, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe. If you don't worry about it. But thank you for stopping by anyway, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.